Hello super friends and welcome to DC TV Talk. This is the show where we talk all things Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow and Black Lightning. And in today's video we're going to be discussing those mysterious totems that have been showing up on Legends of Tomorrow, what they all are, what they mean, and what they mean for the future of the season and the future of the show going forward. Let's discuss. So, in Season 3 of Legends of Tomorrow, there have been two major things going on. We have had the main villain kind of figuring out who that is and what his plans are in the form of Malice, who I've done a video on himself. And then we've also got the 6 totems, which have been hinted at before and now they come into play in Legends of Tomorrow. They were kind of hinted at and shown in the Vixen show because of course Vixen has her own totem, and then Vixen was introduced into Legends of Tomorrow, and now in Season 3 we have this storyline where we're trying to collect all 6 of the totems, and that's what this video is. We're going to break down each and every one to find out what they are and what they mean. So we'll start off with the easy ones. So first we have the Spirit Totem, which is the one we are most familiar with. This is the one we have seen the most. This is the totem that is currently in possession of Amaya Jue, aka the Vixen, on Legends, and she is of course the one who owns it and currently bears it. This showed up on the Vixen animated show with Mari McCabe, and we saw Mari McCabe use it in Arrow Season 4, and now we see it in Legends of Tomorrow with Mari's grandmother, who is of course Amaya. And this totem grants its user the ability to summon powers of animals and nature, and things of that nature. And so we've seen Amaya use powers from like gorillas, we see her use like tigers, things like that, powerful creatures that she can summon the powers of to help her fight her enemies. We've seen them use it plenty of times, whether it's in Legends of Tomorrow and the crossovers, or even what Mari McCabe has used in Arrow Season 4 for that one episode. You know, it's a very powerful totem, which is a bit more of a weird and obscure power, but definitely a cool one nonetheless. And then we have the Air Totem, which has been also introduced this season thanks to Zari Tomaz, who was introduced this season on Legends, and she is the current bearer of the Air Totem. This power allows her to basically control the air, control different thrusts of air, and you know, she can basically, if you've ever seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, it's very similar to that, you know. And that's one thing I really like about these totems, is it's all elemental based, similar to that show, which I was a big fan of when I was younger. So to see that that idea being brought into Legends is really cool. So if you remember what the character of Ong was able to do in The Last Airbender, it's very similar to that. That's what Zari can do. And we haven't really seen her use it too much because she doesn't quite understand it herself, but all she knows is that she has this totem that has these powers and it's a connection to Amaya's. And this is the other totem that we are quite familiar with at this point. We then have the other one which we're pretty familiar with, which is the Water Totem, which is currently in possession of Kuasa. Kuasa is of course kind of like that water god who is part of Malice's little group, and she is of course Amaya's granddaughter. So she is there using the Water Totem. She can basically manipulate water. So again, going back to Avatar: The Last Airbender, sort of anybody from the water tribe like Katara, whatever Katara was able to do in Avatar: The Last Airbender, that's pretty much what Kuasa is able to do. She's also able to turn her body completely into water, which is interesting. And I quite like Kuasa. I think she's a pretty cool character, and I've always been a big fan of like these water powers, so I think that's a pretty cool totem. And that's the other one that we're pretty familiar with at this point. Now, last episode we saw the Earth Totem, which again was from Zambezi, but is actually in possession of Blackbeard, which was pretty interesting. It ended up in the 16th century that way, and we saw it actually has very interesting powers. Not only does it allow its bearer to control the earth and control the elements around her, but it actually allows them to actually be possessed and actually to be resurrected. We saw Queen Anne, who was actually killed in the episode, to actually get resurrected and brought back to life and under possession of the Earth Totem, which was a pretty interesting power. And this one seems to be extremely powerful. This one seems to be probably the most powerful of the totems. And going back to Avatar: The Last Airbender, I've always been a big fan of the Earth power. I feel like the Earth power was always my favorite. It was always like, if I was going to go into one of the tribes, I would definitely go to the Earth tribe. So I really like this Earth Totem. It was really cool. I really like seeing its powers, and like I say, I think it's the most powerful of these 6, so that seems very awesome to me, and I liked how it was done. And it's currently in possession of the Legends. The Legends do own this one alongside the Air and the Spirit Totem. They have it kept in a box on the Wave Rider, so we don't need to worry about that one. We've got that one in our hands. We then have the Fire Totem, which we were starting out to go after in episode 12. We find out it's actually in modern day Detroit. However, this actually ended up being a bit of a bust mission. We didn't get to see it, but we actually find out that it is currently in possession of Damien Dark. So that's obviously not good news, but Damien Dark does currently have the Fire Totem, so we're going to have to get this back at some point. Now, the Fire Totem is one that breathes a lot of discussion, I think. I'm going to do a full video a bit more in depth about this, but the Fire Totem allows its user to manipulate fire and shoot fireballs. Does this sound familiar to you? It does to me, in the form of Firestorm. Could this be how Jax returns to the show and actually becomes Firestorm without needing Martin Stein? I feel like this is a perfect setup. This would be a way for them to do that that makes sense. But again, I've got a full video about that coming up. In terms of them actually getting the Fire Totem, obviously, like I said, it was in Detroit, but it's not anymore. Damien Dark has it, so wherever Damien Dark goes, that's where it'll be. There is a lot of rumours that the Fire Totem will show up in episode 18, which is the season finale, which is going to be in the Wild West, I believe, which is interesting, because there's also, we know Constantine's coming back in that episode, we also know that Jonah Hex is coming back in that episode, so it's going to be like this massive team up against Malice and Damien Dark and everything. Maybe this is how, like I said, Jax will come back, because Jax has also been confirmed to come back in that episode, so maybe that's how he comes back. He uses the Fire Totem and becomes Firestorm again, but obviously kind of like a different kind of Firestorm, which would be awesome. I feel like the Fire Totem is definitely going to be an interesting one to see how it develops, and if it is a way to bring Jax back onto the show, that is definitely a welcoming thing for me. Now, one of the mysteries regarding these totems is what is the 6th one. We knew there was a 6th one, but we didn't really figure it out. However, I'm pretty sure now it's been confirmed to be the Death Totem. I was kind of expecting it personally to be something to do with speed, or like a speedster thing, because obviously we have Wally coming onto the show, we have Kid Flash now on the show, and I thought it would have to be something to do with speed or speedster powers. However, it's been confirmed to be a Death Totem, which is interesting. However, when you think about the grander scheme of what's going on this season, it does make sense, because of course Malice has been confirmed to be a demon, and he has all these connections with Constantine, and Constantine deals with death and demons and possession and things like that. Maybe Malice is the one who's in possession of the Death Totem. Maybe it's the Death Totem that allows whoever Malice is to actually be a demon and be demonized in that sense. So maybe that's where this is going, or maybe the Death Totem is the real key to stopping Malice. We don't really know, because we haven't seen it yet. We don't know what it is yet. We don't know what it's going to do. We don't know what its powers are. We don't know if anybody is currently using it. Like I said, it could be Malice, or it could just be out there somewhere else. It's a very interesting one. I feel the Death Totem is going to be like the key, though. I feel that's going to be the one that's going to kind of be the solving problem of everything. As soon as we get that one, it'll be, that'll be the one. So I feel like this is a really cool concept. I'm absolutely loving these totems. I think it's a really cool idea, and that's why I wanted to make a video on it to discuss them all, because it's a very interesting idea that I really love seeing implemented into this show. It very much reminds me of its direct comparison with Marvel with the Infinity Stones, which is going on in the MCU right now. It very much reminds me of that, in the sense you have 6 totems, you have 6 Infinity Stones, and each Infinity Stone has its own power, and they're all placed in different places. I feel like it's very similar to that, and that's working very well, and in the Marvel films, it's working very well here on DC TV. So what do you guys think about all these totems? Let me know in the comment section below. Do you like them? Do you not? What do you think? I feel like I said, if you're a fan of like Avatar: The Last Airbender like I am, it's just a really cool thing. I love these elemental powers and how they're using them as the individual totems. I think it's a great idea. And to see how all of them are being introduced, how all of them bring certain powers and different things into the story, and what they mean going forward. Like I said, I think the Fire Totem can bring in so much. I think the Fire Totem is going to be pretty important. And then you have other ones like the Earth Totem, which seems to be very powerful, the Death one, which could be a key to everything. It's just these totems are bringing around a lot for DC TV and for the Legends of Tomorrow, and I'm very excited to see how this develops going forward in Season 3. So, thank you guys for watching this episode of DC TV Talk. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, it'll help me out a lot, and share this video with anyone and everyone you know who loves DC TV and get them to join the community. And as always guys, please subscribe for all of your latest content on Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, and Black Lightning. And with all that said guys, I hope to see you again in my next video.